A beautiful place to do acid, in case you were wondering. Hello and welcome back to another episode. Nope. I'm like really trying to figure out like what is my intro, and every time I try something different, I'm like, nope. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Juju's Jungle. It still sounds ridiculous. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Juju's Jungle. I am joined by a very good friend of mine, the very talented Deegs, Mr. Diego.
Hey, hello everybody. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. I love that we wore the same.
I know we're twinning today. It's cute.
I almost didn't wear. I was gonna wear the pants, and then I couldn't find an outfit, and I was like, I'm thinking about this way too hard, and I was like, I'll just throw on the hoodie, and then I was like, is it like embarrassing to wear the brand of the person you're interviewing? Is that an embarrassing thing to do?
It's cool. I like how we both decided, like unintentionally, just to wear these hoodie, and so
I love it.
It's nice.
I love it. Introduce yourself. Tell the people a little who you are.
Hello, I'm Diego. This is awkward.
Well, hello.
Yeah, just a clothing designer. Here living in LA, doing my thing, just trying to make some clothes and build a brand with my brother. And we've been doing it for like 5 years since I moved here. And just
I love that.
That's where I met you. Kind of my photographer, always helping out.
Yeah, I was trying to think of when we met for the first time. Obviously through Fee, but like when.
I remember, it's funny that you said that. I remember the first time like I saw you and it was like really like I never even heard about you. It was like when Fee was living over in North Hollywood.
Okay. Okay.
Right? It was like I made that the Frida Kahlo shirt.
Yeah.
Doing like a little
yeah.
shoot in the front of the yard, and you like FaceTimed her. And you're like, oh, this is my friend. He makes clothes. Here's the shirt. And I remember that's the first time I was like, oh, that's Juju that you talk so much about.
That's so funny.
Like, oh, that's so cool. We gotta do something. And that was the first time I remember being like introducing myself to you.
That's so cool.
FaceTime, like a while back.
I love that. I definitely like also knew who you were before I met you because your Fee's like BFF, and so I felt like I knew about so much about you, and I was also like, I don't know who this guy is, but his brand's cool. Like, what's up? These hats are cool. These shirts are cool.
Literally, like, just a couple months after that, we used you for our like newest collection.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was like pretty quick.
I love it.
Yeah, so that was nice.
Hell yeah. Where did you grow up? Because you're not from LA, right?
No, I'm from Phoenix. Grew up in Texas.
Okay, that's what I thought. Arizona. Yeah. Okay.
Was there all my life. Grew up. Went to U of A down in Tucson, which is like an hour south.
That's the #1 party college in the U.S., right? Because I went to Mizzou, and Mizzou was like #2, and so we were always like trying to party harder than y'all, which like I don't even know. We never went there, but that was like something for some reason.
Yeah, I was always looking that up too. U of A was always like 2.
Yeah.
When I was there.
Yeah.
I went to like an all boys like prep school kind of.
Oh.
But I went there most of the time. Most of the time I was there. So like all those dudes went to U of A as well. And just like I wasn't in fraternity, but it was like
the frat bros.
So I was like, all right, I got the in. I got my friends there, so they would take me to the parties and everything. It was
That's fine. I can picture you in college though, like definitely not the frat guy ever, like, but I could see you being like cool with the frat guys because you're like into sports, like that kind of shit. Like you are.
Right. I knew
that's fire. Yeah.
Like I would always hang out with them.
Yeah.
Just when I wanted to. So yeah, it was cool.
Wait, so what is a prep school like? That's like your high school? What's that mean?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I went. It was like a Catholic school. It was like a Jesuit
oh, okay.
School, so like it was just all boys, kind of like preparatory kind of schools.
Gotcha.
Like a Catholic kind of school.
Interesting. You got kicked out?
I did.
What for?
Yeah. We'll see. I got on probation.
We'll see.
On my junior year, I got on probation.
Okay.
For skipping like my last period class, which was like the teacher wasn't there, so it was like a study hall, but we just left to smoke weed.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but they knew that we went to go smoke weed because they just immediately called us and was like, oh, we saw you on security cams. You have to go take a drug test.
Oh.
Today.
Oh, damn. Yeah,
So
dang.
I tried all I could, all the tricks, looked up everything, but there was nothing I could do. They were really strict about it.
Yeah.
They like had, they went to a legit place. So I was on probation though. I didn't get kicked out then.
Interesting.
So like, okay, cool. I finished my junior year. I was doing summer school because like that's what you did there to like get ahead, so you could have like a free period the next year. So,
Interesting.
and I got a free fake ID on Reddit.
Oh, heck yeah.
Again, this is school. Everyone had computers. That was the whole thing. So
Yeah.
during class, we would always just be like on Reddit, just doing shit. And like one of my homies, like during like history class, was like, "Hey, there's this like free fake ID you can get. It's a promotion." I was like, "No way." And I looked on it. I was like, "Oh shit, it is." I sent it and I got it. It came in so nice. It was like a New York. I looked like a little 12-year-old.
That's incredible.
I looked like a little baby.
What was your name? Was it Diego? So?
My name.
Oh my
I'm
God.
from Brooklyn, New York.
Oh hell yeah.
I'm going to ASU for like school. I look like a little kid.
That's incredible.
So I had it, and like an idiot, I dropped my wallet, like that. I dropped my wallet as I was getting out of my car, in like the school parking lot. And he took my wallet to the dean, which I was already on probation. And so he just straight up went through my wallet, took everything.
Excuse you, not your wallet, Mr. Dean.
Yeah, apparently we had no rights as students. So like, he went through everything because the fake ID was in the back. He went through everything, took it out, called me in. I was like, "That's a violation. You're kicked out immediately." I was like, "Oh shit."
That is so ridiculous because what does that have to do with you going to school or your education? Like, how does that affect you at school? How does that affect the school? Like, that's crazy.
I know. And it was funny. I wasn't like not a drinker at all at the time. I was a big smoker, and I used it just to get to what was it called? Hard Summer. Do you remember Hard Summer? It was Fool's Gold. Danny Brown was on it, and like Rick Raff, and like a bunch of, like DJs. It was called Hard Summer, and they used to do that all the time. And they would like during the summer they would travel around, and they were coming to Tempe, and I was a huge Riff Raff and Danny Brown fan at the time.
That's incredible.
So I had it. I was like, "Oh, it's a 21 and over show. I am going." So it was really just to go to the
That's so funny.
Yeah, I know.
You being innocent.
To the festival.
Obviously not. What a.
He was so funny though. He gave me back the ID. Like he didn't destroy it. He's like, "Here, you can have it back." I kept it, and when I went to a public school, they hit me up to go get him beer.
That's great. That's so funny. What did your parents have to say when you got kicked out?
Oh my God, they were very super pissed. Very upset. They were like, cause they gave me a few options to like, all right, you got in trouble, you can be okay. But I kept on messing up, so they were pretty pissed. And my mom was like, "You gotta go to another Catholic school." They called like the Catholic school next to my house, and they were like, "Oh no, we know that school," and they told us, "You got kicked out. We're not accepting you. No way." And
That's so ridiculous.
Public school, but it was cool because that was the first time in like 4 years that I went to classes with girls. So I was like, "Oh, this is a distraction."
I will actually not skip class now. I will wait.
I was the new kid, senior year coming in, so I was like, it was fun.
Wait, so senior year, that's crazy. And that's the only year you were in a public school? That's wild.
Yeah.
What was it like culture shocky or like what was the
I mean, I went to like Catholic school like all K through that time. So I didn't really know like the neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
But, like, it wasn't that bad. Once you get into it, once you start to like kind of rummage around, it was kind of cool being the new kind of kid, kind of feel a little main character-y vibe. You were like, "Who is this guy?"
main character-y vibes?
I was like, "Oh shit, am I like the movie new guy?"
That's incredible. Oh, that's hilarious. So your parents were like pretty strict growing up?
I want to say they were strict growing up. I'm the youngest. Like, I have a lot of cousins and like a big family.
Okay.
And I'm the youngest in all of those.
Okay.
So I was kind of like the baby. So I have a brother who's like 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
As you know. But so yeah, he was more rebellious and more of like the crazy guy than I ever was.
Yeah.
So by the time I went around, they were more.
That's interesting though, because I feel like a lot of times when like the older kid is messing up and getting in trouble, it like fucks it up for the younger kids because then that makes the parents more strict. But your parents just realized like you weren't.
They could tell like, oh, this is not the same kind of crazy as my older brother.
Interesting,
he was balls to the wall, like trying to get away with everything, and that just wasn't my personality. I was more sneaky with like if I wanted to do something, I'd do it way more like.
Yeah.
So like, but again, they were like way less strict. Like I could sneak out like through the doggy
Interesting.
door and all that. I was
Through the doggy door?
yeah.
You put your whole body through a doggy door?
Yeah, I'm thin. I have like the slight hips. I would go through the doggy door to go out and go to the side door, turn on my car and go out. All
That's
the time, all the time.
hilarious. When I snuck out, I never drove my car, but I would have like people pick me up and I would make them go like a little up the street and have their headlights on. And I like wouldn't let them turn their headlights off until they're like, we're not even in your neighborhood anymore. Let me turn my headlights on. I'm like, okay, fine, you can turn them on.
I'm the guy that would pick people up. That was me.
Makes sense.
Because the prep school that I went to was like way in Phoenix and I live in Tempe. It's like a 20-30 minute drive.
Okay.
So I was always driving since the get-go. So like I would be the kid, be like, no, I'll drive there because I have to drive there anyway.
Yeah.
I was gonna get there.
That's great.
So I would be the one that would pull up and turn the headlights on.
Scoot in real quiet.
In my car.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah. So that was fun. No, yeah, they were not strict. As not that.
Which is also interesting because your mom is I want to say psychiatrist, but is that right?
A psychologist. She's
Psychologist.
She's a psychologist. Yeah.
There's a question here somewhere in my brain. Yeah, that's interesting that she wasn't strict as a psychologist. What was like her? Did she give you like the tough love, or was she like call me if you're ever drunk, or like what was her?
Definitely not tough love. She's
Okay.
a very motherly, very loving, a little maybe over that kind of vibe. Definitely, yeah. She's more like call me if you're drunk, I'll come get you.
Okay.
Nice about it. And
Okay.
I won't get mad. Maybe if I do get mad, I won't be that mad. Like,
yeah.
She's
yeah.
more like that. I don't know. It's growing up with a mom like that who's a psychologist. And again, I'm like my mother's son more, and like they always say, my brother's like my dad.
Okay.
Who's a lawyer, so very.
Oh.
Yeah.
Your dad's a lawyer? I don't even think
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. He's an immigration attorney. He like grew up on a border town in Douglas, Arizona, which is on the border of Mexico.
What?
And so like growing up, and all his family's from Mexico and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in the U.S. And so like all the time, he like saw border patrol all the time. It was like, I want to be a lawyer. I want to do something.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and he had like a real mean grandmother who was like, you're gonna be like a criminal. You're not.
Okay.
So he was real rebellious. So he was like, no, I want to be something cool. And so he went to Notre Dame Law School and then became a professor at UCLA in Houston. And then now he's a lawyer for like 40 plus years.
That's so incredible.
I know.
Does he?
I'm like, oh god.
How do immigration lawyers make money? Because I'm assuming like he reps people who.
Yeah, so like let's say a little family comes in, they've come in illegally, and they're like, I want to get a green card, and he's like, okay, it's gonna take like. He always explains to them that it's like a seed growing, so you gotta like plant a tree, and you gotta wait that tree to grow. That's how long it's gonna take.
Okay.
But you can do if you do it through that way. You're not like an illegal citizen in there. You're going through the steps. So like someone comes in. He goes through their whole thing. If they have like criminal history, then they can't do it or X, Y, Z.
Mm.
But then he just goes through the process to get him a green card. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it. There's asylum, which is like, for example, if someone in Palestine wants to come through since they're getting targeted directly, like they can file for asylum. He doesn't really do that anymore because it's really hard.
I was gonna ask, does he cover all of them or?
He did, yeah. For a long time, he did a lot. Now he's kind of like more retirement age, so he's kind of winding down the harder asylum cases.
Yeah.
And those. But he's been working for so long.
That's so cool.
But he's real more like kind of a lawyer vibe. Like,
okay.
Matter of fact, real boom, like short. And I'm definitely more like my mom, who's taught me growing up is like emotions are good, crying is great, everything is the best way to be. And I've always like that too. I'm like, the way to be is just never to bottle anything up, to like be very expressive.
Yeah.
And I think because of her, I'm like that. So that's nice.
That's super cool though, because I feel like it's just maybe like a stereotype we see in television now that I'm thinking about it, that it's like you have a psychologist that's a parent and you're like being like manipulated and like mentally like all these things. Because I was gonna ask like one of my questions was how did your mom's job affect you growing up, like childhood versus adult, like affect your relationships with other people? But it doesn't sound like it has at all. It sounds like you grew up super healthy.
Well, I mean, of course I've had a lot of stuff, but yeah, if any healthy parts I have growing
Uh-huh.
up, it's definitely from her.
That's so
And
cool.
it's so funny because she often says like people are so intimidated once they say like I'm a psychologist.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, are you analyzing me? Are you like trying to get in my head? Are you
Yeah.
being weird? And like I can like my dad and my brother both. I've gotten some senses sometimes that they get that, but I never ever thought of it like a manipulative tactic.
That's
To me.
awesome though.
I don't
Yeah.
know, I just always thought it being genuine and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm, you know, sometimes in my life when I'm being vulnerable and genuine, some people take it as manipulative too, and I always got to be really aware of that. I'm
Oh,
like, oh shit. Now they
interesting.
feel like, oh, you're just trying to make me feel bad, or trying to make me feel a certain way to make, you know, whatever, to manipulate me.
Yeah.
When, you know, I'm just like, no, I feel like,
I'm just
but,
being
like,
genuine.
you gotta be like, oh shit, okay, because, you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to take sometimes, or like people are not used to it, so jump real quick to being defensive or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, growing up with her, I mean, it was great. Like one thing I always loved about my mom too is like when I was a junior, junior year, I went to go take acid for the
Okay.
first time with my brother and his
Okay.
girlfriend in Sedona, Arizona. Beautiful place
Okay.
to take acid. Amazing.
Beautiful
It was
place.
amazing. And he was like older than me and has like already done that. He's taken mushrooms and acid before, and it was my first time. So I was like, cool. So I was like all excited going. He had like the acid playlist ready to go. His girlfriend at the time was super nice. She was like super like lovey. So I was like, oh, we're in a good group. I'm in a good group. I feel safe. And so we went out and we did it, and it was amazing. I was like, oh, you know, took 2 tabs of acid, so it was kind of heavy.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah,
Okay. I've never done acid, but I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah, it was. And then took 2 tabs of acid, was all crazy. And then I came back home and like felt okay to tell my mom like, hey, we just went to go take acid. And she just was like, let me like talk to me. Like she, her psychologist brain just like lit up, and we just talked so much. And she was like, wow, it's crazy how someone who takes acid or takes hallucinogens can like access their emotions so quick. Like I feel weird for XYZ, but I know why, because I feel anxious about this.
Interesting.
You just like connect it better when you're on those drugs than not. And that led her through like a whole path of now.
I was just gonna ask, is that what led her to working with ketamine?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We've taken DMT together, ayahuasca.
Whoa.
She's taken ketamine, mushrooms.
Wow.
Acid, but she's done a lot of stuff now. Now is working to be a psycho. I don't even know what it's called, but like a psychogenic therapist. So
Yeah.
she went to do these like a lot of retreats and a lot of these classes. So now like she administers ketamine to her patients and like does it like that, and then administers mushrooms sometimes. So like now she works in that realm.
So ketamine and psilocybin, just those two?
Psilocybin so far.
Okay.
So far.
Cool.
But yeah, she really got into it heavy with ibogaine, which is something for drug addicts. My brother was a drug addict for a while, and ibogaine, which is
what? Say it again. What do you say?
Ibogaine.
Ibogaine. Okay.
It's like a lesser known hallucinogen.
Okay.
Yeah, they simply like an ayahuasca is like a mother.
Okay.
Right, and ibogaine is like the father one, so it's a little like same side of a different coin kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And people don't really use it for like recreation that much. Okay. It's really good for therapeutic and really good for like opiate withdrawal.
Addiction.
Opiate addiction.
Okay.
And he went to Mexico and did all that, and that also helped my mom to really like.
Your brother did it.
Yes, my brother.
So your mom didn't know about it until your brother went and do it.
Until like he,
And he was doing it as a treatment.
For a while since he was a kid.
Okay.
And so yeah, he went to rehab like real young, and all his friends growing up were also recovering addicts. So that was a thing in our lives for a long time. And when he got into his like early 20s, it was still a problem, and it wasn't until they both did research in that drug, and then he went and did it, and that really helped him. So,
that's cool.
So it was like, oh, these hallucinogens are really helping therapeutically, and that kind of got her down the path. But it's been cool. Taking DMT with them has been so fun. You did
ayahuasca with your whole family, right? You guys did it together?
I did DMT with my whole family. Ayahuasca without my brother, but with my mom and dad.
Okay.
Really cool.
What's like the difference between DMT and ayahuasca? They're both like pretty intense, right?
They're very similar. Technically, there's like DMT in ayahuasca, and like it's like a plant.
Okay.
DMT is like is inside of it, kind of. I don't know if I'm exactly right.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Listen, we think we know what we're talking about. Don't yell at us.
From my bed. Memory. But because from what I remember, when I went to go do this, it was in Phoenix, and it was like really cool. It was like this like kind of monk sanctuary kind of place, and it was like a bunch of people.
Okay.
We went in this big room, and we all got our little like a little mattress and like a throw up bucket and like a little blanket.
This is ayahuasca?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know, maybe 15 people, maybe more, just I don't remember, around this big room, and like if you came with someone, they place you far away from them, so you don't really focus on them.
Oh.
And then you go get administered like the ayahuasca, and then you kind of trip, and because ayahuasca is really long, it's like
Okay.
a 9 hour thing.
Whoa. And so
DMT
you
is really
stayed, were you in the same room for 9 hours?
Yeah, pretty much. This is the whole night. Like we took it maybe like at 10, and we like left in like 4 or 5 in the morning. And we,
What
like hit gong, so we feel like the vibrations.
what percentage like of that time do you remember? Like, were you in like mostly a trip that whole time?
Well, like it takes a little bit to get in, kind of like any hallucination.
Okay.
But like yeah, you kind of trip pretty heavy, pretty quick because they give you a lot, and then during the time to get you kind of back into a state of like, oh, I'm here, ground you basically.
Okay.
Like, give you. Have you heard of like the old school like snuff boxes, like tobacco, like back in like the cowboys used to like sniff.
Like sniffing salts?
Kind of. It's called a snuff box. It's like tobacco.
It's literally like a snuff like thing, but you sniff it?
You sniff it, right? And it's like pure tobacco going up. And so they do that to like kind of like bring.
Interesting.
You're like really tripping, and they're like, you're just, and you're like, whoa, like imagine like smoking a cigarette all in one, like.
Interesting.
So like it's kind of like wakes you up.
Did they use it like if somebody was tripping too hard too? Could it like kind of like bring them down?
Back to like be like,
Interesting.
I feel my hands and my body.
Okay.
Like I don't feel so.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then they ask you too. At least the people that I did it with ask you, do you want DMT with it or not? Like, have a little bit, and they would pour like, I don't even know what it was, but they would ask you. My mom was like, no, I'm good. I'm tripping hard enough. And I was like, all right.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's cool. So yeah, we as a family go on those kind of journeys together, DMT and ayahuasca.
What, like, who was the first person to be like, fam, you want to get in the bus and go do some ayahuasca?
My brother was the first one really to like spearhead the whole.
Okay, but you said he wasn't with you guys for the
ayahuasca. He wasn't.
Okay.
Right, but the whole ibogaine thing was him starting. He introduced me to LSD. He was kind of like kind of like that. He was into that kind of early on. But yeah, I would say he kind of started it for everyone.
Interesting. It's also interesting that like it's something that it seems like you guys practice as a family in like a healthy way, but it stemmed from like your brother's addiction. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Your mom like kind of finding like mushrooms and ketamine, has that helped your brothers?
Yeah, he's been doing good for a while now. Yeah, I would say like the ibogaine early on and doing all that treatment and kind of going through that plus the normal kind of way you have to go through.
Interesting.
Addiction, kind of helped, but yeah, kind of like seeing it as more of a not such a negative and what can be a positive thing. Like, oh, we brought our family together. We brought my mom down the path that she's really passionate about now.
Yeah.
Pursuing. So I think in that sense, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of helps everyone. Like as a family, kind of look at it as a different way. It's kind of interesting. My dad do like DMT and I.
A little lawyer.
He loves smoking weed, right? He's a big weed guy.
I love that.
I don't think he ever took any kind of psychedelics until then. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, he loves it. He's like, oh, he loves it. Yeah.
I love that though. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's also healthy that you guys can like all talk about it, and
I think the big thing that helps too, especially with like he's a little older. I'm a little older. He's like I'm gonna be 70 soon. It like helps, and I think this is good just in general for elderly care. It helps them kind of like look at death not as like afraid and being like, oh, I can see like how we're all connected, and when I die, I go to another. It just I notice when he does those things, he like kind of
wait. So sorry, your grandpa is
my dad.
Your dad?
Yeah, he's gonna be 70 in February.
Oh, he's gonna be 70. Okay. And so when he takes the drugs, you're saying you feel like he sees it.
Like death in the way path more of a in a better way, and my mom was telling me because she goes to these conferences that's big in like elderly communities where like mushrooms and doing that kind of things helps with hospice care.
Interesting.
Like, transitioning over to death.
Kind of taking like the anxiety away almost.
It doesn't feel as scary.
So is your mom you said she's a PhD. That's not in. Is she going to school again for, or like what's a
PhD is just like a doctorate.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know nothing about smart things. I don't even know what that means.
She was
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's like a high psychologist. Yeah,
Got it.
clinical. Those are the.
But she's like certified in ketamine, or
Well, she just got that recently.
okay,
Like she
gotcha.
just did a whole like program, and she went to the Amsterdam
Oh,
for 3 weeks to do a bunch of mushrooms with other
cool.
therapists there.
Sick.
So she was over in Amsterdam doing the thing.
That's fire.
Yeah, I know, that was in November, like yeah.
Okay.
So she was just there doing.
Super cool.
Yeah. And then she was following hero doses, but she was saying I'm taking hero doses, which are like 5.
Is that like a macro?
Yeah, it's like 5+ grams of mushrooms. I was like, oh my god.
I've never taken more than like 1.5 grams.
Of mushrooms?
Yeah.
Acid?
I-
Have you done acid?
No. I've never.
I like acid a lot.
I've never done acid. I've never done. I do want to do ayahuasca, but I want to do it like in a controlled environment, like you were saying. Like it sounded like you kind of had like almost like a shaman, like kind of there to like definitely. Yeah, that's definitely the environment that I want to do that in. I haven't done DMT. I haven't done nothing. Mushrooms, weed.
Mushrooms are cool though. Mushrooms are tough.
I love the mushrooms.
The first time I done mushrooms, because I mean, sometimes I was a little crazy with it. I did a hippie flip, which is like, I did like an eighth of mushrooms.
Okay.
Like 3.5 grams of
Yeah.
mushrooms, and 2 tabs of acid.
And they call that a hippie flip?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's a hippie flip.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That was the first time I ever took mushrooms. It was awesome. I loved it. So long. That was nice. I was in high school at the time. Yeah.
Well.
Sedona. Yeah. Sedona's great to do.
A beautiful place to do acid, in case you were wondering.
Look at nail color over there.
Thanks. I do too. I fuck with it. I don't know what it is, but I like it. I like it. Let's talk about involved.
Let's do it.
So you and your brother started a clothing line. You mentioned earlier, like kind of in the intro, but how long have you guys been?
We've been doing it basically since like 2020, I would say. Like 2019 when I moved out here.
Okay.
But we really didn't like pop it off till like 2020, like right before the pandemic.
What made you guys decide to start a clothing brand?
He was living in Portland doing weed at the time, so like he was into concentrates. So he would like he would make wax basically.
Okay.
And he was doing that over in Portland, and like getting through this really bad breakup, and it was all turmoil, and so he was going through that while just finishing up college at U of A, and I forgot what exactly got us into it, but we just started sending us like designs of just like t-shirt graphics just from like a stupid app, just back and forth all the time.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then we started like kind of designing more seriously like as the months went by, just sending us designs back and forth until we're like, oh, we should really do this. And especially at the time where he's like, I'm gonna leave Portland because I don't want to be with her anymore. Like, get out of here. And it just kind of came out a little bit organically after that, being like, hey, I'm about to graduate. You want to leave? Like, let's go to LA and kind of start this. So,
I love that.
Yeah, I drove from Phoenix to Portland to pick him up and back.
What?
Yeah.
That is like not an on the way like swoop. What?
It was a fun drive. I love drive.
It's beautiful up there too. Like I'm sure that drive, I really want to go see. Like I haven't seen any of the big trees in Northern California. Like I want to do all that.
Yeah, one of my high school sweethearts, her dad lives in like northern.
One of your high school sweethearts? Okay. Okay, I just wanted to clarify how many. Okay.
Her dad lived in like northern San Francisco, like where the redwoods are. So we were always homies. And so when I went that trip with my friend, we like drove up.
You saw it?
We stayed with him. We like, oh, come stay with us.
That's
so
cool.
I was like, okay, so I just stayed with him, and we like went to see the redwoods and did all that. But yeah, that Northern California area is like so.
I need to see it.
And then drove up to Portland.
Sick.
That was amazing.
So what is the name?
So then yes, it was. Do you remember? And I think you were actually really funny that you mentioned that. I think you were the only one that saw pulled up the reference of the name like just organically when I was hanging out with you when you and Fia used to You pulled up the Bovice Involved videos. Do you remember those videos? How goofy they were and like how funny that guy was. That's how it came to me.
What?
Yep.
I love love that. Wait, Bo Burnham? Is that what you're saying?
Vice involved, remember?
Bo
Do you know what that is, Vice? You look it up. You brought it up, and I was like, holy shit.
Bovice? Oh, this is Miles' phone.
It was like,
Like, this doesn't look familiar.
It was a video of a guy in the woods.
It's a wolf of frost, Bo free!
Yes, you know what I'm talking about. That's that guy.
It's a wolf of frost.
Exactly.
Wait,
that guy.
that's what inspired the name?
That was inspired the name. That's what inspired the name. I forgot why, but that's exactly what inspired the name. I was like, that's cool. It was just like I know, because of that weird 2007.
That was like in my mind, like one of the first YouTube videos ever. Yeah. No, that's probably why I played it, because we were probably talking about that one day. That's so funny.
I used to listen to those all the time, just crack up. Dude. For the reason that came to our head, and we're like, that's it, involved.
That's a. I don't know why I didn't know the story already, but I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, you know, me and my brother, we we love our family. We just are so involved. Okay. Got it.
No, it's pretty random.
I love that.
Yeah, I liked it. Like, I was thinking, like, oh, should I make it, like, wrap it in a nicer package? No, it was just from, like, funny, stupid YouTube video.
No, that's incredible.
That I thought was so funny.
That's genuine, though. Like, yeah. So where does, I guess, first off, we just, like, jumped in. I said, let's talk about Involved. Explain a little bit to the people, the brand, your guys's.
I can continue. So I'll continue kind of what you were saying.
Okay.
So then we met up in LA, right, to do it.
Okay.
And it was like COVID kind of time. And during that time, I just hit up one of the homies on Instagram. I didn't even know him. I knew him through like Fia was like friends with him. And I was like, oh, this dude does his clothes. His name was Kai. So I was like, oh man, like what up? I followed him. He said I need help at CompassCon. I'm doing a booth with Babylon, which is another brand. Anyone can help me. And I was like, oh, we just got here to LA. Like, this is a perfect, time to go and meet people. So I was like, oh, yeah, me and my brother can. He was like, oh, yeah, cool, come. And so I went, and we worked at CompassCon in 2019. Okay. Met a bunch of people, like, met Kid Super. We talked to Colm for a while. Met a couple guys. It was fun. And then a couple months later, we made this hat that I'm wearing. And that kind of got kind of big, and like that kind of got us like good sales, and kind of be like, okay, we got money, we can start doing this for real. And then COVID happened. Although during COVID, we were still getting pretty good online sales, which was nice.
I've also never fully understood that hat is your design, but in collaboration with.
No. Yeah, we see it's funny. Yeah, so we made this hat. This is our own one. Okay. We just made it. Okay. Designed it, made it big, and then Kai hit us up and be like, "Oh, let's do a collection based on that hat for the upcoming CompassCon that was coming up."
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh yeah, of course. Let's do that. And so we made this hoodie and another variation of this hat that was a little different. It was like more on the brim and not a trucker hat. And we kind of premiered that and kind of released that at CompassCon 2020.
That's kind of insane that that is your guys' first because I'm losing my words here, because that just seems so ridiculous. Like, so many clothing brands release so many clothes, so many drops, and maybe people outside of California, LA don't know who Kai is, but I feel like in LA, he's a pretty big, well known. Yeah. And for you to just show up in LA, meet him, and be like,
he was super cool with just giving people oh, you want to help me out with this? And then later on, he liked our design. I was like, oh, let's do something. And it was really fortuitous for us, because during that time, right before CompassCon, he did the whole hype show on HBO Max.
Wait, that was before you guys even did your. That's so weird. I didn't even realize that timeline.
Yeah, it was before that, so it really helped us. It helped everything out.
Yeah.
So, before he even went on the show, because he went on the show in the summer and then in the fall. That spring is when we made the hat. And we were getting, a lot of people were like, "Oh, I want the hat."
So technically, the hat came out before the show was released, but he had already filmed it.
Yeah. Okay. And then he was like, "Oh, I really like the hat design. Let's do a whole collab based on it." I was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." So he brought in his his where he makes stuff, and we did it in LA. And designed these ones based on the hat, and kind of pushed that. And then he went to do his thing on the hype and did really well, and people knew him. And so then Complex Con was like, oh, we'll give you like a booth for free. Like, you know, you were on the hype, like it's just, you know. And lucky for us, we were already talking about doing a Complex
Yeah.
Con booth. So he's like, oh, perfect. He's like, let's just do it together. So
Yeah.
we got super lucky and didn't
And
have to-
cool that he didn't like kick y'all,
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know,
it was
like,
cool. Yeah, we
that's
had a
cool.
whole, we brought another homie to do screen prints.
That was like your
Yeah.
praying one, right? When you had like the booth,
Yeah,
that
we
was
had,
like the,
a
yeah.
dummy praying.
Yeah.
And all those crosses were from my mom collects crosses and has a whole cross wall at her home. So I just went to the house and like took them all. I was like, hey,
That is
can you
both
use these
cool
for
and
house?
scary.
So I just put them all like that. But yeah, that was really cool. And then we had someone to do like, you know, DIY stuff because that was like really big there. And so
Yeah.
it was really nice. And so last year when we went, it was nice because they gave us like a nice like they're like, oh, we know you guys, you can come in. So it was like an easier process to get
Yeah, that's awesome.
to get everything done. So yeah, it was cool. But that's kind of how we started, and then we've just been growing from there and doing comics cons when we can and trying
Yeah.
to, you know, get into different stores and just. You know,
Where do you guys get like your imagery inspiration? Like, you've moved past this now. Like, where is the new stuff coming from?
That's a good question. We were definitely trying to more like before we were all like just you know kind of like rebellious, being like, oh, we make this like we make something cool. We think of something cool. Let's just make it right now, and like kind of no. There's thought to it, but like not no cohesiveness, kind of. And we're
Yeah.
just trying to throw everything in because we just want to make a splash and make
Mm-hmm.
something happen. Now we're like, okay, we're trying to go more cohesive with the thoughts and trying to like get more collections that are based on like a single thread. But where we get inspiration is from like so many places. Like big time movies has always been something that we pull from.
Yeah.
My brother went to film school, and we're just both like really into movies and like do that a lot. So we draw from that a lot, and we like obviously I told you I went to Catholic school like most of my life. So
Yeah.
religious imagery, I have like a bunch of tattoos of like
Yeah.
on me. So like religious
Yeah.
imagery also is we take from a lot, especially like Chicano kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibe because that's our heritage and stuff. But yeah, mainly just kind of any kind of art, like music and stuff too. But
I think it's cool because I'm like really drawn to your stuff. I always love it. But I'll wear something and be like, by the way, what is this in reference to, just in case somebody asks. And I think it's cool because, but a lot of times I feel like you are like, it's a movie. There's a lot of it that's like Mexican movies, right? Or
well, there's it's like a lot of just it's not necessarily Mexican movies. Just we pull like one of our stuff, like those pants that you like to wear that are like all crazy.
Yeah.
Are from like a pulp Japanese director that like Quentin Tarantino likes to pull from, and like so he does.
I'm also thinking specifically like the pink shirt with the triangle. It's something, and it says it's pink. It's got a triangle. And it says, what the fuck does it?
This color or no?
No. The light pink T-shirt.
Oh right, yeah.
It's something.
Yes. That's from a movie called Holy Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one, people always ask me, and I'm like,
yeah, it's yes.
Okay.
His name is Alejandro. I don't know what's his name. Jodorowsky.
Okay.
I forgot. I don't know if that's his first name, but it's Jodorowsky is his last name, and he's like a real like avant-garde kind of filmmaker and does like a lot of cool movies and stuff. And that movie that we got that design from was Holy Mountain.
Okay.
Which is like you're into movies and stuff, you know, like, oh yeah, that's a crazy movie.
Cool.
That's exactly. We get that a lot. Like even the new jacket that we just made. I was giving out to people. Someone was like, "Hey, someone's gonna ask me who this is," and I'm like, "It's cool. Who is it?" Right? So I get that all the time. And for like that one, there was like an ancient like Chinese poet that's really famous. His name was like Ling Zhengdong or something like that. From, like,
It's
the
a
Third Dynasty.
insanely
Yeah,
sick jacket.
And put that on there. So yeah, you're right. Sometimes you have to explain kind of.
But it's cool because there is meaning. Like that's what's cool about it is that like your stuff is like sometimes kind of out there, but it's with purpose, which I think is so cool. You're not just like, oh, I just found some images of boobs and put them on pants. You're like, no, this is somebody that Tarantino pulls, like, blah, blah. Like everything from my point of view, at least, is like, you're so thoughtful and like, I don't know, everything seems like it has a purpose.
Well, thank you. And even within that, though, we just growing as artists have to like filter that down even more and try to like make a more clear, a clear vision. So like when someone looks at it, they know exactly what the vibe is like immediately.
Yeah.
And that's been just something we've had to grow in as designers and artists and being like, all right, how do we like making collection that like is cohesive but not like right on the nose and like can like summarize it kind of quickly in a nice like
Mm.
collection. You know what I mean? Kind of just trying to elevate as designers.
Yeah.
That's kind of the tougher part because we can put out like one piece like that, but trying to like sit back and do a whole collection that's drawing on a certain film or a certain thing, but not really right. It's maybe in the tone,
Yeah.
the colors, or maybe the cuts, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just trying to grow a little bit like that and kind of like.
But do more like collections as opposed to just like
do
single
more,
drops.
exactly.
Yeah,
Do
that's
more
cool.
collections and kind of be more elevated a little bit. Seeing more like the higher echelon luxury brands. When they put out, it's more deliveries. It's more like here's a fit, here's another fit, here's your looks.
It's
trying to
collection.
exactly,
Yeah, capsule.
Design in like a whole fit. Here's the pants, here's the jacket that goes with it, here's the accessory, and kind of do that. So,
I love that.
So
That's super dope.
growing, so
Super cool. I also feel like you've learned a lot, kind of like in trial and error with your guys' manufacturing, and then also like on the side of marketing. It's like those are like two big things I'm thinking like specifically for small clothing brands that are starting out. I think like the two big questions are like how do people see it and like how do we get it made?
right.
What was your guys' process of like finding your manufacturer? Do you have somebody you like? What's the vibes?
Right. Yeah. With that, definitely marketing has always been like the toughest.
Yeah.
I always thought in that process. But in terms of like manufacture, it was exactly what you said. A lot of trial and error. It was a lot of just like finding people through just like looking up online and Instagram and just trying to find some like legitimate kind of people that you're like, all right, I feel trusted enough to like work with them.
Yeah.
And then just a lot of getting samples made for them, getting them back, and being like, this guy doesn't make good stuff. We're not. A lot of stuff like that. And also like, there's some spots in LA that I would love to work with, but it's just too expensive. I can't do it, or whatever the placement or whatever the case may be. Because there's a lot of places too in like China that were like, oh, I love this knitwear. They like do really great mohair, whatever it is. And we get a sample and it comes out great, but like the MOQ is something that we always, especially from a
What's that mean?
brand, that's the minimum order quantity. So
okay.
Like, a lot of those brands are like, yeah, this is you have to order 300 of them. Like,
Gotcha.
I don't, we can't, or we're a small brand, we're not gonna get 300.
Yeah.
So that's like a thing that probably is the hardest thing from a small brand is trying to find a good manufacturer that hits you on the low MOQ.
Okay.
We found a good one in China, and we found good manufacturers here in LA too that we've worked with that we trust. So we have a nice one here in LA, and then we have a good one in China. So we kind of work with both of them.
That's nice. Yeah. But do you feel like the like biggest struggle has been the order quantity in like a starting out way, like getting it off the way, getting off the ground?
Way, and I guess we were just lucky is finding a manufacturer that you can kind of make what you want, and you guys can like find a language together, right? A design language.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
I don't, but tell me more.
Kind of like if you like make something. Let's say you're not as polished, and you don't give them like a perfect tech pack.
Okay.
Like super official, and go to fashion school. So I don't like a great tech pack.
Yeah.
I whip something up on Adobe, like Illustrator or Photoshop, and I talk to them and explain it. I want it the cut like this. I measured it out, and I want it like this and like that. And it's just basically them understanding it. Like, okay, and maybe they don't, maybe they do. You'll know once you get the garment. You're like, this is exactly what I wanted, perfect, or it's not, And it's just kind of finding that. And then once we found someone that does that, then that like design language builds and builds and builds. So now I don't even have to explain too much. I'm like, I want this. I want to look like
they just get it. That's awesome.
Got it. Boom.
That's awesome.
You can do it, and especially. I like the overseas one, especially with the design language, because you can do something crazy and they're like kind of get you, and they can like do it kind of what you wanted, but then you take it to here and get better fabric if you like source better fabric here in LA, and get it sewn with a seamstress here in LA, and just have that sample that you made and do like a sew by. So it's like really helpful in a lot of different ways.
So what you're saying is sometimes you get a sample from China. Is that what you're saying? And then you take it to somewhere in LA and you find somebody who cuts and sews it at a better quality.
Yeah, I mean, because China has different connotations. There's like, just like in the US, really bad manufacturers, really good manufacturers.
Of course,
right? And there's like a whole spectrum. So, and let's say, and usually they can find a lot of stuff, but there's like a specific like wool that we're really going for.
Yeah.
And they couldn't find like or the one they did wasn't that great. But the cut that they made was perfect, or like the design they did was excellent. Well, then you would get there, kind of go to like in fabric stores in LA or something like that, or try to source it somewhere else. And then once you do find that, you can just get a pattern, which is like pretty expensive, which is like, oh, how do you want me to cut it and sew it together? Oh, if you already have a garment ready to go, I want it just like this. Okay, then that kind of goes cost down a little bit. It's still an expensive piece because you're getting it like made from a seamstress, straight from fabric here in town. Instead of like making it in China, you'd cut down the price just a little bit. But that's another way to kind of like utilize getting samples from like some other places and like enhancing the fabric or the sew. So we kind of do a little mixture of those.
It's cool though.
Trying to go more towards like sourcing our own fabric, getting our stuff.
But who doesn't want that, you know, with their own brand? Like, who doesn't want their whole brand to be cut and sew? Like,
yeah, most of it is. But yeah, we did use blanks a lot, but we don't really use blanks anymore because of the people that we found in China that could make it cut and sew like this for us.
Yeah.
So it's like just
That's
picking
awesome.
kind of what garments fit with what manufacturers, I think is
Interesting.
But early on, it's about MLQ trying to get that low.
Yeah.
Like, as long as like, oh, we can make you 50 of them. That's it. And you're like, perfect.
Thank God.
Let's say nothing sells. Good. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're not in the hole. So much clothes.
That's a tough thing. Yeah.
You know, but marketing is the worst. I hate it so much. I hate it.
It's the worst. I hate it so much. You said that so fast.
Yeah, we're on our like third marketing team, and they're doing pretty good. But it's just like marketing. It's just like I don't know the space. It's really easy for you not to like. It's really easy to be like, oh, I don't know. We're trying to target this audience. It's not working, and it's hard to be like, are they actually trying? Are they not?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to gauge, but all it takes again is just kind of experience and seeing what doesn't work, and then moving on and like, why doesn't that work? Why didn't I like them? They weren't communicative. They didn't blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Try to fix it on the next one. And just try to do that every time. But yeah, marketing is important.
Personally, not that you asked, but I want to see you guys doing more guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
I want to see you, and I'm only saying this because when I wear your I want you to do guerrilla marketing. I want you guys on the streets. I want you at more events like Complex Con, but on a lower level, like because your guys is when I wear your clothes out, whether it's like this hoodie during the day to the grocery store or when I'm like in my thigh high heels and like wearing the clothes like out, it doesn't matter how I'm styling it, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm always getting complimented on your pieces. And they have that wow factor. And I think that if people could really just like connect you guys, because you and your brother are also such freaking amazing people, like I think that like it would just blow up in a streetwear way if people just could really like connect you to your brand. Because every time somebody compliments it, I'm also like, Involved Garments, follow them on Instagram. But it's different if like you're that person on the street.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I often say that. I think this too. Sometimes I'm like, wow, sometimes I'm like designing and doing this in like a vacuum too much, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Like you said, you got to get out.
Yeah.
Especially when like being, hey, these are my clothes. This is what I do. Kind of building that community, building those kind of people, because that is kind of the biggest thing that we've seen with marketing is at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is build like a community of people who share the same values as your brand, share the same values as you, and like kind of trust I trust them that they do that. So going out and kind of doing that is really important. I'm so bad at doing that.
Did you just fall asleep? What just happened?
I saw a scary video.
She twitched hard as fuck. I was like, are you okay? Sorry, I didn't mean to make... I made him lose his train of thought by my reaction to you.
But yeah, no,
marketing's a bitch.
I need to go out more, but you're right, because that is a thing. Like when I'm outside, people look at them and they always compliment me. Like, oh, what is that? What is this? What is that? And I get that a lot, but sometimes it's hard to be like, oh, I'm just trying to live online and trying to get sales online, and that kind of like overlook. Go outside, look at actual people who like look at your stuff. And like it. But, so I agree with you.
Well, it's hard also to do everything. Like. You can't do everything, but what was I just gonna say? Fuck, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, you can't do everything, and like online marketing is just so hard. The thing is too, I am convinced, and I could be wrong, but like these social media management companies, nobody actually knows the rules of Instagram. Nobody actually knows the rules of Facebook. Like, yeah, we're all just like, there's like randomly articles that come out every now so often that it's like the algorithm changed. I'm like, do we even know that? And so when you like marketing is so hard like that because I've ran like random ads on my page before, which is obviously so different because my ads were like now booking, like those kinds of ads. And I feel like Instagram would tell me I got all this engagement or like all this interactions, whatever the words they use are. And I'm like, okay, but nothing came from it. Like there wasn't, okay, so I got 100 more likes on my page, but I got one more website click. Like,
Yeah, it's basically an ROI. What's your return on investment?
yeah.
On ad spend?
Yeah.
So you're like, I spent all this money on this ad, but
Yeah.
it booked me 0 things. Or it
Right.
sent me nothing.
Yeah.
It really wasn't, it was for nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's something too that you're like always looking at what's the ROI, what's the return on investment. So if I pay like the marketing team, you know, they're pumping money into the ads, right? And they're paying like X amount of dollars per click, but it like got 2 sales and then doesn't equal whatever it is, or then the return is nothing, and then you're just wasting money.
Right.
So that's where the part where you're just like, I need those ads to make sales.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No point. Like,
right.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
You know, I mean, engagement is good too if you're like, I want to do this ad so I can get more followers, but that's
not the point.
No,
yeah.
Put money in something and give money
Right.
back.
Yeah.
So, and that's the toughest part because that's super hard to get. And yeah, it's just it's kind of like a gamble too. They also are trying like different ways. They don't know, like you're saying. It's
Yeah.
Exact science,
Yeah.
So.
You found a company you said you liked though, or no?
Yeah, we did. They're over in London.
Okay.
We like them. They you know we talk.
Are you like seeing sales come in?
We literally just started. Like,
okay. So you don't actually know if you like them yet?
No, we don't.
Okay,
it's been
got
like
it.
a week.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, never mind.
Exactly right. Because we just like when we released our last stuff and so we've just been like a week and a half, but so far they're good. I like them better than other people.
Nice.
You know, we get weekly reports and like clear numbers and everything. So I'm like, all right, very visible. So.
Love that.
You know.
Thanks. Yeah, it's like cool. This place is perfect for it, but it's starting to get exhausting, like taking all these plants from my apartment and setting this setup. Yeah. Yep. It's getting exhausting. But you know what? That's the grind. It's gonna make me when Juju's jungle is in a permanent location and the jungle is bussin', I'm gonna reminisce on these days and say,
it's gonna be a crazy garden.
Those were the days. Yeah. What a peasant I was. With my little pathos. Okay, my last question on the clothing brand wise. Any advice for people starting their own brand, or like maybe just a couple tips that you learned of like just how realistic ways to get your brand on the ground and running?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say to design all the time. To really, if you're gonna start a brand, and it would be 2 things. One is that I'm gonna really get a clear vision on what it's gonna be, clear theme, and that's like sometimes people get like bogged down on like, I don't want it to be this, I don't want it to be that. I think it's more important to pick something and then stick with it. So then when you have like a brand, someone can look at it and be like, I know exactly what they're doing, I know what it's about, and within that you can be really creative. You can do whatever, an infinite amount of designs and things, but if you filter it through a specific lens of what your values are as a brand. Obviously when you're starting a brand, it's probably your values too. So, but whatever the brand's values are, whatever the theme of the brand is, whatever it is, you kind of filter all of your designs and all the marketing and all that. Through that, it's way easier, because if you're coming at it kind of like, I don't know what that is, it's like sometimes I don't know how to market it, I don't know what this is going to be, I don't know what
that makes sense.
So you kind of like have that place already in mind. It kind of helps everything along the way. And then 2, once you find a place that you like a manufacturer that you like that makes clothes, I would just design as much as you can. Kind of like always kind of create, kind of make stuff, because that like helps you kind of fine tune what you don't, what you do like.
Yeah.
So.
Earlier you were talking about getting samples made, and I didn't ask, but are you at a place where you're able to be like, this is my vision, and they'll make you one single sample.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's super
Yeah,
cool.
we're at that place right now for sure where
Yeah.
we can even do some crazy stuff, kind of, and more time than not, they'll be like, yeah, we can do it. And
That's cool.
send it to me, and again, it's gonna be like if you get 50% of your stuff, that's exactly what you thought of. That's great. But
Yeah.
what we do, since our design language has been really well, like really fine tuned, kind of over the years, more times than not, we get like almost exactly what we're looking for.
I love that.
The thing is, the material wise, that's always like.
Yeah.
You can always fix it.
That's also tough until you can like physically touch the material to know. Like everything calls itself cotton, everything calls itself like until you can like really.
I don't like this. And
Yeah.
shit like that, but that's like one of the easier things that can be switched. Right? I want the exact same thing, different material.
Yeah.
But
So know your vision.
yeah, know your vision, know your brand. Yeah, know your vision, know your brands. Like
Yeah. And then find a good manufacturer and just keep creating.
yeah,
I love that.
Those two are big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely find your vision will help you like throughout the whole aspect, marketing to creating and everything. But yeah, having
Do you-
a career,
Yeah.
big thing, yeah.
I love that. Do you have advice for people who are going into business? I mean, your brother is your business partner. So do you have advice for people who are either going into business with like a family member or a best friend? Like what is there any like communication wise, like ways that you and your brother have had to learn to work with each other but also still be siblings?
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
Really good question. Definitely, it's been a kind of a learning curve, right? Because we've had two different personalities,
Yeah.
two different styles of just looking at business and looking at what motivates us and what gets us up. He's much more on like the harshness and like gets him going. I'm more on like
The lawyer side.
I'm more on like the phrase gets me going. Right?
Okay,
So we're very
yeah.
opposite points. And I think that it's important to know early on. You can't always want your business partner, or you can't always have your business partner kind of give you what you need, and you kind of understand like, okay, this is what he'll give. This is kind of the way he reacts to this. This is how I react to that, and kind of like not kind of like hold it against the other person for however you feel
Yeah.
that the situation should go. And I feel like more times than not, especially at least with us, we're very close, and with best friend, I feel like if you have an understanding and kind of been like, you guys can get mad, call each other names, whatever, but at the end of the day, you kind of like can stop and kind of be like, okay, well then we can like talk about this normally, we can joke about something else, we can
Yeah.
move past it in whatever way. I think that kind of goes a long way, and understanding just how the other person works and like kind of their style of business is really important too, because that
Makes
takes
sense.
a long time. Kind
Yeah.
of understand how someone kind of works or how this, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's really helpful, because that kind of helps me being like, oh, okay, he's reacting like this, but that's not what he's not taking it like at a 10 like I would in that situation. That's just how he reacts to us.
Yeah.
You know, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But so whatever it is, kind of just being understanding with your partner and kind of like giving them leeway when you can and being harsh when you need to be. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I do take like I'm glad he's harsh on me right now because I have been slacking or something.
Okay.
Right? So
Yeah.
It's a good balance. It's a hard one, but
Yeah.
yeah, the ability to understand where you can give someone leeway and understanding where you have to be harsh on them is really important too.
Yeah. And then being on the other side of that and like not getting offended when one of those other things happens, I feel like,
It's so offensive when someone calls you out, right?
Especially like in my mind, at least like siblings even more like.
He's the older brother, right?
Yeah, like, ugh. You're telling me I'm not working hard enough? Yeah.
That all the time. You as a person would be like, wait, is it that or am I not working hard enough?
Yeah.
It's okay. But you're absolutely right.
The last thing I want to talk about is you and your brother recently did like a house swap vibe, which I've only ever watched in a movie that was like a love story. So
Hey, what movie was
yeah, The Holiday.
The Holiday, right?
Is that what made you know about that thing as a thing? Oh, okay. I'm like, what?
No. I watched that movie like right after we did that. I was like, that's exactly what we did.
No, when you told me what you were doing, I was like, that sounds like exactly what he's doing.
Yeah,
That's so
exactly
cool.
what it was. We switched.
Okay, so explain to the people.
Okay, so yeah, we do. It's called Home Exchange. It's a website that you just post. I think you have to like pay like
Homeexchange.com?
yeah.
Okay.
You pay like I think a monthly or yearly little subscription. It's not too much, but you basically pay that so you can like post your house on it, and then you have other people who are on that website also like give you bids or post their house or like they message you, and Yeah, my brother kind of spearheaded that because we wanted to go to Rome really badly in Italy, and he just was like, "Oh, I'm in Hollywood, kind of in the hills a little bit, like off the 101 on Argyle." So we have a good like location that's like a lot of people want to go to and be like, "Oh, it's a cool visiting spot." So once he posted it, we got like bombarded with so many like
So
messages.
you signed up, your brother signed up, and then you guys first posted your place here in LA on it. Okay.
Yeah. We
Okay.
posted our places here in LA on it, just posted our location, kind of where
Yeah.
we're at, and we just got a lot of people hitting us up being like, we want to exchange. And you can do a couple different ways. You can just do like a straight swap, like the
Okay.
holiday, where you
Okay.
just like, for this time and this time, we just stay in each other's places. Or you can do like, oh, let's say that's like their second home or something.
Okay.
You can put it up and you not necessarily have to go to your place, or they do
Oh.
a certain time. Like it kind of varies.
But is it cheap or free? It's still free?
It's free.
What? They're just giving up their place for free?
Usually there's like a caveat in there, like, oh, we want to use it for these days, and then in the summer we're going to go to your spot, or they just get points. And so home exchange also has points, which
Okay.
is very interesting.
Okay.
But that's I'll tell you about those. So we went to Italy.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
I'm like geeked. I'm like points.
We switched with this old couple who was like this professor and this like wife, and they switched with us for a whole month in Italy. And so we were in Rome in their place while they were in our place. And
That's so cool.
It went great.
Wait, it was an old couple? I don't think I ever asked what the other people were like.
Yeah, they're super old. They're like in their mid to late 70s, 80s, and like he was like a professor, and yeah, they loved it. They used my brother's car. They drove to San Diego.
Oh, so you offer your cars
They
too?
offered, you can, yeah.
Okay.
They offered their car, and we were like, no freaking way.
Yeah.
Rome looks hectic.
Yeah, no.
What's going on? We're like, no, we're not. We're gonna crash. No
Yeah,
way.
absolutely not.
But I used his car to smoke weed in.
I also don't even know if I would like want to be on a bicycle in Rome, honestly. Like those streets are overwhelming. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I would not do that either. So that went well.
So cool.
And then the next year we went to this last year we went to Copenhagen. Speaking of biking, and they left us bikes, and we biked around everywhere.
That's so
all the
cool.
time. So yeah, we've done it twice now.
Okay.
And because of that, and we switched with them too. She was like a single mom with like 3 little kids. So yeah, and like he was like really into like Fortnite and stuff, and so they went to like a bunch of esport things here.
That's so cool.
I stayed in his like little boy's room. He had like a little fish. They asked us to feed the fish.
Oh my god, that's so cool. That's like honestly a dream of mine. I just need to have a nice enough place that somebody would want to stay at.
I know. But that was super cool. And because of that, they give you like a bunch of points since like everything went well and they like give good reviews. And so because of that, just last week, we went to Mammoth to snowboard for a week, and the person had like on Home Exchange, I guess has a condo on the mountain and rents it out to people and put it on just as points. So they didn't have to come stay with us.
Okay.
We didn't have to pay any money. We just like use the points that we've saved up.
So people can list their places as like a points only place,
Yeah,
kinda.
they get points,
That's
they can
super
use it.
cool.
Yeah,
And you get points by getting good reviews. Is that what you said?
Using Home Exchange by doing it, getting good reviews, them being like, yes.
That's
yeah.
so
I just
cool.
went to Mammoth for free for a week and just stayed there for like 4 days, 5 days.
Fire. Homeexchange.com.
Use it, yes.
So cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just always planning. We're trying to go to Spain, trying to go to Japan, just like different places.
Fire.
As long as we have a place we want.
Yeah. So have you been like searching, like when you go to the website, can you go like Japan and then can you like scroll through people's places?
You can. Japan, Asia's actually not that great. They're really good in Europe, like
Okay.
a lot of European ones. Asia's a little lacking because I would want to go there so bad.
Yeah.
There's not that many. It
Okay.
kinda depends. You can go on there and kind of see what the.
But you can, and so if you find a house you're interested in, can you send to them and be like, I'm interested in your house. Are you interested in mine?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. It's like a dating app.
Exactly. People hit us up with that all the time. They're like, hey, we're from like Australia, or we're like even from places like Indonesia. Do you want to surf? Like we can switch. Like different stuff like that.
That's so cool.
So
I love that.
Yeah, so you should do it. I feel like just California in general. If you're in like the greater California area, people in Europe don't know. They don't think how far things are. So
That's true.
Oh, LA.
Yeah. I definitely need a living situation that it makes sense in. But yeah, it's so cool. I'm down. Maybe I can like convince my parents to give their house up. I'm like, y'all wanna? Well, they moved to Florida though.
Well, that also works.
Yeah, but nobody wants to go to Melbourne, Florida. Fuck. Frick. No more F bombs. Frick. Did you notice? Was I saying F word? The F word? Did you notice? I didn't really say it this episode. I don't think so. I said during Fee's episode, but my father's one complaint with my podcast is that I say specifically the F-bomb too
He
much.
doesn't like it. That's cute.
He said too much. I'm like, okay, that's fair.
Sweet.
No, that's fair. Yeah, he likes the show. He said, he sent me the cutest. I'll read it to you guys. Oh, my phone's dead. Fuck. He sent me the cutest text the other day, though. I'll have to read it to you guys. I'll send it to you later when my phone's not dead. But it's so cute. And the last sentence that he ends it with is, "Your only problem is that you're so much like me." I was like, facts. Because I am also definitely like the daddy's girl. My sister is more with my mom. Anyway, that was a distraction. Squirrel. Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say to the people?
Nothing. I obviously plugging my brand, Involved Garments. Check it out. Got new clothes dropping all the time. New ones coming out probably tomorrow or the next day. So
Probably tomorrow or the next day. That's exciting stuff.
yeah. So check it out. Be on the lookout for that. But other than that, nothing. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming and chatting with me.
Fun chatting. Thank you.
I could chat with you forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Forever, ever.